Sometimes it starts as a very small feeling during the day. After sitting for a long time, your lower back begins to feel a little tight. Not painful, just slightly stiff or heavy. Many desk workers notice this kind of lower back tightness after sitting for hours. At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But when the same feeling keeps appearing day after day, it's easy to assume that something must be wrong with the lower back. Maybe the back muscles are getting weaker. Maybe the spine is under too much pressure. Or maybe sitting all day is slowly damaging the back. So naturally, people focus on the area where they feel the discomfort, the lower back. But here's something many desk workers don't realize. Sometimes the place where you feel the tightness isn't actually where the problem begins. One part of the body that plays a much bigger role in this than most people realize is the hips. When you sit for long periods, your hips stay in a constantly flexed position. The muscles at the front of the hips, often called the hip flexors, remain shortened for hours at a time. Over time, these muscles begin to lose some of their natural length and flexibility while you're sitting. At the same time, the pelvis is held in a slightly forward tilted position. This position changes how the lower spine is supported. Instead of sharing the load with the hips and surrounding muscles, the lower back may start taking on more tension to keep the upper body balanced. The important thing to understand is that the lower back and the hips are closely connected. They move together as part of the same chain of movement. So when your hips get stiff from sitting too long, that stiffness can quietly shift extra tension into your lower back. And that's why the discomfort often shows up in the back, even though the source of the restriction may actually begin in the hips. To understand why tight hips can affect your lower back, it helps to look at how these two areas work together. Your hips and your lower spine are closely connected through the pelvis. When you move, bend, or stand up, the hips and the lower back usually share the movement. They work as part of the same chain. Ideally, the hips handle a large portion of that movement. But when the hips become stiff from long hours of sitting, they may not move as freely as they should. When that happens, the body often compensates. And the lower back begins to take on more of the movement and tension that the hips would normally help with. Over time, this extra demand can make the lower back feel tight, especially after sitting for long periods. One interesting question many people have is this: if the hips are part of the problem, why does the tightness show up in the lower back? The reason is that the lower back often becomes the area that compensates. When the hips don't move as freely as they should, the body still needs to maintain balance and movement. So the lower back begins doing more of the work. It stabilizes the upper body. It helps control the transition from sitting to standing. And it absorbs some of the movement that would normally come from the hips. Over time, this extra demand can make the lower back muscles feel tight or fatigued, even though the original restriction may have started in the hips.